Hello, my name is Margaret Brum, and I'm a candidate for a seat in the Michigan House of Representatives representing the 109th District. I'm here today to introduce myself to you and explain the issues that I'm concerned about so that you understand what I'm concerned about and that you can bring to my attention any issues that you have. A number one issue that comes to my attention all the time from my constituents is affordable housing. There is a huge shortage of affordable housing across the Upper Peninsula. Unfortunately, if you go to the city, they say they don't have the resources to deal with it. If you go to the county, you get pretty much the same lecture. The only organization that I'm familiar with that has consistently been able to deliver actual affordable housing good for families has been Habitat for Humanity, which is a 501c3 accredited organization with a stellar reputation for delivering homes. My intention when I get to Lansing is to introduce a bill whereby the state would fund 10 new homes in each county through Habitat for Humanity and hopefully kickstart some more building based on the Habitat for Humanity program, which has been successful in the past. And I've seen a lot of empty promises from developers where they say things are going to be affordable and it always ends up costing upwards of $500,000. Habitat for Humanity, because there's a sweat equity requirement and they pre-select the people involved, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get the foolishness of having housing built that no one can afford. So that's my idea. If you have a better idea, I'd like to hear it, keeping in mind that the cities and the counties are not exaggerating when they say this isn't really something that they're supposed to be in the business of doing. Another thing we need is a dark store tax relief. This is a perennial concern in the state. Townships that welcomed the big box stores and gave them all sorts of advantages for building there because they would bring in dollars and jobs are now struggling to fill their tax coffers because the big box store is paying less than their fair share of taxes. I know this is in the courts. I know that it's been there a long time, but I also know we need relief for every place that has been hit by the closing of a big box store. And I'll do everything in my power to see that the state does what it can to get that relief. Next thing is about state-of-the-art medical care for the people of the Upper Peninsula, including mental health care and including drug rehabilitation, and this includes all people, including veterans and civilians. Came to my attention in the last month through a friend that there currently is not a practicing endocrinologist at the Marquette Hospital, the brand new Marquette Hospital, state-of-the-art, and they don't have an endocrinologist to deal with diseases of metabolic imperfection. This affects a lot of people, including people dealing with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Now, they do have a very good nurse practitioner and they do have very good diabetic educators, but we need a professional doctor up here so that people don't have to go to Green Bay or downstate to see a doctor about diabetes. And that's one of the holes in our healthcare up here. Another big hole is mental health care and drug rehab. Every city suffers from it, and the way they suffer from it is people who are not getting drug rehabilitation treatment and are not getting mental health care typically add to the homeless population. The homeless population, when that increases, there's no funds available for the rest of the community because they have to put in funds for housing and for policing the homeless population. So this isn't a nice to have, this is a must have. And it's too big of a problem to resolve in the local area. We need Lansing to step in and provide a minimum of mental health care and drug rehabilitation care throughout every county in the Upper Peninsula. So you don't have people coming from all over to load up on Marquette's health care when they can have a local area that has the same health care. Now, right now, we've had a hospital in the Western UP shut down emergency room care. So this is a perpetual issue of just because we want to live up here, we shouldn't have to settle for less than state-of-the-art health care. Now, the updated hunting rules allowing for coyote and wolf hunting, I don't understand why they passed a bill limiting the coyote hunt to 9 months of the year. The coyote is not an endangered species. It is an incredibly successful predator that expands its territory. As people move in, it doesn't move out. It just gets better at collecting domestic animals and other things that become its prey. There is no shortage of coyotes. We're not endangered. They're not an endangered species. There's no reason for them to cut the hunting short by 3 months. Now, the issue of wolves is more controversial, but the one thing I know about after listening and talking to people about it is nobody believes the DNR head count for wolves is that low, and nobody believes the trail camera head count for wolves is that high. So I've made a proposal. It's not necessarily the most popular one, of putting a $50 fee in place to fund a new survey. And if you pay for that fee, you'll be first in line for the raffle to get a ticket to hunt a wolf when they finally realize they have enough wolves in the Upper Peninsula to hunt. This is going to take coordination between the states and the federal government, because the federal government controls whether the wolf is delisted from the Endangered Species Act, and it's going to take coordination with the federal government because there's a history of people thinking that the wolf was endangered when it really wasn't. So I'm going to work on that. I've already made that position clear, and right now I believe I'm the only candidate who's even addressing this issue, so I'm glad to be part of the hunting and fishing community. We need local control of wind farms and solar farms. We have some ambitious energy requirements that require renewable energy by a certain date and time. As a member of the Board of Light and Power, we're dealing with that. We have a standing action item on that. We're investigating it, and that's our job to make that happen. But in addition to that bill, there was a separate bill passed that allowed for the Public Service Commission to have the final say of where these solar farms and wind farms go. Our current representative in the 109th District voted in favor of that bill, betraying the interests of people who voted for her, saying in fact that it was more important that Lansing gets what it's wants than the people of the Upper Peninsula have control of their land. I'm thinking of the people up in the Keweenaw who fought tooth and nail to keep out one of these large energy projects, as is their right. And now it doesn't matter what the locals say, and no matter how many letters are written in favor of this, the bottom line is that the Public Service Commission says it's a go, it's a go. And then the only thing you can do is file a lawsuit, and they take years and cost more money than any of us have. So I'm going to be fighting very hard to repeal that part of the legislation that allowed the Public Service Commission control over that. Another issue, large animal rescue service. Right now in the county of Marquette, we have over 500 horses and about 2 to 3 times that many sheep, cattle, other domestic animals. At any given day and time during the summer months when they're traveling, there's animals on the road and animal trailers. At any given time, they can be involved in an accident. And right now, the local police are not trained in large animal rescue, neither are the fire department. Their go-to reality is hopefully the animal can get out on their own, and if they can't, they have a standing order to end the animal's life and, if necessary, use chainsaws to get rid of it so they can get traffic up and running. Nobody wants to see this, especially now that they have specialized training and vans that have equipment so local people can rescue large animals in these situations. We've been in touch with the state of Michigan because there's no large animal training van in the Upper Peninsula, and they said they have them downstate, but they hadn't thought of putting one up here, and if they did, they'd put it way over in the western UP, up next to the border with Wisconsin, because that's where they think all of the animals are. And this is just another example of people downstate not understanding how big the Upper Peninsula is and where the animals and people actually are. So I'm in favor of getting the money to get not 1, not 2, but 3 large animal rescue vans in the Upper Peninsula, so an animal in a ditch doesn't have to wait 3.5 hours for the one van to come down from the Keweenaw to get it out. And if you've never heard of this issue before, it's time you've heard of it, because the more we travel on the roads, the more chances for these wrecks, and the more chances for expensive and loved animals to be in trouble, and we need to be ready for it. So this is what I have for you right now, and I hope that I made you interested enough in coming out and voting. I want you to know whether you're a Democrat like me, or a Republican, or an independent, whether you vote for me or not, when I'm elected, even if you're a tax collector, I will represent the people of the Upper Peninsula as best as I can. Thank you for your time. One more